Hey, what's going on everyone? Justin here, and in this video I want to wrap up my book recommendations based on the seasons, which happen to be the prompts for this year's Springathon reading event. Leave a link down below to kind of all that information, as well as my winter, spring, and summer book recommendations. Like I said, just encourage everyone to always be doing nature reading all the time, but especially during Springathon and whatnot. But let's just go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with my actual fall pick here for my reading in Springathon, which I've just recently finished, and it's Atul Gawande's Being Mortal, Medicine and What Matters in the End. This is just a fantastic book all about, kind of end of life medical care, what that should look like, kind of what the problems historically have been, and kind of where we can go from here. He kind of deals with his own personal life at the end, dealing with his father, at the end of his life, and how they addressed it and stuff, but also different examples of different kinds of care, nursing homes, different kinds of things that have been going on, what's been changing, I guess different methods and approaches people can use and everything. Just really beautifully written, highly recommended, definitely worth all the hype. Alright, next up we have a gardening book. I've been trying to include as many gardening and field guide books as I can for nature stuff, but when I was looking at my books, there's not really any of them for gardening that just scream fall. I don't really have a seed, I thought I had a seed collecting book, but apparently I don't. I might have just borrowed it from the library or something, and I don't really have a harvest book or anything, so I went with the one that had the closest color palette, and that I actually try to do that quite a bit with this video, just because fall is pretty easy to do that with. We got The Science of Gardening, which I'm halfway through right now, and it's Discover How Your Garden Really Grows, and it's by Stuart Farrimond, and it's just a really fun, it's by DK, so it's very kind of educational and stuff. But it's really, it gets into the nitty gritty of how do plants actually grow, how do they photosynthesize, how do they build their starches and stuff like that. I just find it really interesting. Like I said, I'm about halfway through, and I've just been having a lot of fun with it, and it was the closest gardening book I had that even remotely looked halfway fall-ish. Not 100% sure. But yeah, you'll notice definitely a theme with all these books. They have the same color palette with kind of the browns and yellows and stuff of fall. But let's go to the next one. We got Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. This one in sketches here and there. This a lot of the different Aldo Leopold stuff have a bunch of different kind of his different essays and stuff, different combinations of it and stuff. But Sand County Almanac, super highly recommended. For those who don't know who Aldo Leopold and what this book is and stuff, he was a forester in the early 1900s, and was kind of part of that whole, kind of eradicating the wolf movement and all that sort of stuff, until he had a change of heart. There's actually a really good essay, I can't remember, it's Fire on the Mountain or something like that, where he kind of describes the moment where he realized he was in the wrong and wanted to turn everything around and stuff. And he was one of the very early advocates of letting predators be, and that'll actually help the ecosystem and stuff. But just super readable, highly enjoyable, lots of really great stuff in here for sure. Alright, next up we got another recently finished book, and it's kind of nature-y in the sense of being part of the life sciences, kind of Being Mortal and stuff. Not super nature-y per se, but we got The Unclaimed, Abandonment and Hope in the City of Angels by Pamela Prickett and Stefan Timmermans, and I need to do a full review of this one. Just super heavy, but really good. It's hard to, I don't know, I gotta do an actual review of this one to kind of explain my thoughts on it and whatnot, but this is all about, especially in urban areas, but in general in the United States, what happens to people after they pass and they die and no one claims the bodies and stuff. So it's a very, emotionally charged, heavy topic. And they kind of, in this book, there's 4 kind of subjects that they kind of follow their life history and stuff a little bit, and kind of explain the different factors and reasons that happen to go into why they went unclaimed and stuff, the different options that different municipalities and states use to deal with bodies, as crudely as that kind of sounds, and then what people can do about it, what some organizations are trying to do about it to make it just a better process for everyone involved, including those who are deceased and stuff. Just really good, and I felt kind of the smog of LA there just kind of fit with fall and senescence and just the changing of the seasons and stuff. So yeah, Next up is a biography. It's Unbowed, a memoir by Wangari Maathai. And this is an autobiography of, obviously, Wangari Maathai, who was a civil rights and environmental activist in Kenya throughout like the 80s and 90s. Just really cool reading about, you know, just how crazy life is in some of these like different countries and stuff. And even though it's like super oppressive, super corrupt and everything, just kind of like the fighting spirit that a lot of people have in trying to combat, you know, the corruption and just like, you know, all the like unethical things that are kind of going on. But like just kind of the combination of the Green Belt movement that she started dealing with, you know, planting trees and stuff, but also kind of like uplifting women at the same time. That was just like a really good combination. Just really highly recommended. Definitely read about her life. Just really cool. Highly recommended for sure. And then obviously the color. You can see like, I don't even know exactly where I brought this to like so banged up and stuff, but you can definitely tell I went through quite a bit there, but the palette definitely fits fall. So now we got a bunch of books that I haven't like read all the way through. So we got The Last Great Ape, A Journey Through Africa and a Fight for the Heart of a Continent by Ophir Drury and David McDonald. And this I felt very fall-y. But from what I know about this book, it's all about Ophir's like he started an organization. What was it called? Laga or Lagos? What is it? Laga. Yeah, the Last Great Ape organization. And that what they do is they basically try to catch and defeat poachers and stuff that are. He's based out of Cameroon, I believe. Where people are like, you know, hunting chimpanzees and gorillas and all that kind of stuff, and they kind of go out and try to, I guess, combat the poachers and everything like that. So there's definitely gonna be a lot of like kind of high intensity, high octane moments, I assume, and in this, just because like I said, this is kind of an area where unfortunately, like, you know, the park rangers, the law enforcement stuff is definitely on kind of like the losing end in a lot of these situations. So I think it's all about his kind of, you know, you gotta fight fire with fire sort of thing. So I do feel like this will be kind of an interesting read for sure. Next up is a field guide. It's the only field guide I could find that was like fall-ish, I guess, if that makes sense. I had spring, summer, and winter pretty good. But this one is Bark, A Field Guide to Trees of the Northeast by Michael Wojtek. And I've read it, I've used it a couple times. I didn't have great luck the first like 2 times, but I that's probably just me being like a total scrub. But this is all about being able to identify northeastern trees just based on the bark system and stuff, like the bark and like twigs and everything. That way, if it's the fall or winter time, when a lot of the coniferous not coniferous, deciduous trees have like lost their leaves and everything, you can still try to identify them and stuff. And there's a big, you know, key at the front and stuff based on different kinds of bark and whatnot. Like I said, I'm gonna try this out again. I'm getting like all my field guides like kind of collated and organized a little bit, so I can actually get into that a lot more than I used to be. Or I guess I had like a year or two where I was really into like identifying everything, then it kind of fell away for a couple of years, and now I want to like bring it back. And now I don't have to like start from scratch because I got a bunch of the books already. Let's see, then we got 2 more books that were just total cover buys when I got it. And I think they're actually at the same used bookstore if I remember. But we got 50 Places to Go Birding Before You Die. And this, if that doesn't fit like autumnal themes, I'm not 100% sure what will. And I think this is just going to be kind of a really light read where they just, you know, highlight a bunch of just birding hotspots around the world. Like what kind of birds to expect when you go there. That kind of stuff, why those places are just like either like really cool, really accessible, or like, you know, very biodiverse or whatever. Yeah, like I said, there's not really a whole lot to it, but it's gonna be fun to maybe plot out. I don't like, I'm into birding, but not like into birding like I'm gonna plan out like a whole travel to like another continent to go birding kind of person, but I do think it'll be just kind of fun to read about. And then lastly here we got, also, this doesn't scream fall themes. I'm not 100% sure what to tell you. But we've got Wildwood, A Journey Through Trees by Roger Deacon. And literally, this is like one of the only, like I could probably count on my hand how many books on my shelves I've bought just based on the cover without doing any researching or vetting beforehand. I think it was only a couple dollars at a used bookstore, and it was pretty much in like brand new condition. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna pick it up. And I'm just going to assume it's going to be good because it had Robert McFarlane on the back. Though, granted, that's actually the only one. So, who knows? I don't actually know anything about it. I'm actually gonna do this one as sort of like a pure mystery book, if that makes sense. Because like I said, I vet 99% of the books before I read them or add them to like my TBR or whatever. So, it might be kind of fun just to figure out what this is all about. All I know is it's about trees and it's nonfiction. So, we're gonna go with that. And there you have it. So there, I've done videos on summer, winter, fall, and spring for different nature book recommendations. Like I said, this one was definitely the most color palette fall themed one. But yeah, definitely check out some of the other ones if you're interested in that kind of thing. So let me know what book reminds you of fall. I'm always on the lookout for good recommendations, and whether you're reading on something on autumn or not, always remember, read victoriously.